everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are having a super fantastic day. Today's video is definitely a little bit different, as I'm sure you can tell even just by the thumbnail. I have really been trying to dive in, honestly, over the course of probably the last year or two into doing a little bit of digital here and there. And a lot of times I kind of just will do the digital art on my own time and then kind of post it on Instagram. But the beautiful thing with the program I use, which I use the Procreate app on the Apple iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil, because it's, to me, it's the easiest to kind of translate as a traditional artist over to doing digital because it feels more natural. I have tried to use the drawing pads in the past where you draw on the pad and like look up at the computer monitor, and for whatever reason my brain cannot really translate how that works, and I am also terrible with trying to use a mouse. So a few years back, actually, my stepdad had gifted me an Apple iPad, and that's where I really kind of started finally exploring traditional art, or traditional digital art, and trying to figure out my style in that sense. And I'm still trying to figure it out. But, every time that I try, you get a little step closer. And that's kind of how it was even with traditional art and kind of growing my style and where I've come to be. And I think that's kind of the fun thing about this piece in particular. If you guys are following me on my Instagram, you'll notice that over the last couple days in my stories, I've kind of talked about how I want to create my own original character. And it's something that has honestly been on my mind for quite some time. And I feel like I've just kind of been hesitant and not sure where to even begin, or even if I was in the right place to be someone to create my own original character. Not that like I wouldn't be accepted, but just kind of one of those like, I don't know if I can. But I've come to find that it really helps creatively with doing even illustrations, and that's kind of where the thought process with this character in particular came into play, or at least this illustration. It was a few weeks back where I was even contemplating the original character concept and creating, and I had this idea of this cute little like early college chick who, in a way knew who she was, but she was also kind of a bad bitch in a sense, who didn't really give a F what anybody thought, in a manner of speaking. So, she's kind of a cross between like a monster chick and a witch. And that's where kind of like the herbal potions in the background came. I want her to still be like one of those presences, like she has the presence of being good. And of taking care of other people. And it's kind of where just the sketch in general came out, and I knew I wanted her to have the kind of like cat eye effect and everything, and have a nose piercing and just kind of have this quirky little smile and everything. And that's kind of where this kind of came into play, and I just started building this sketch up, and I wanted this sketch to be fully digital, just start from scratch, digital. And I started just kind of playing around. And originally when I started kind of inking, or doing the solid inking, in a manner of speaking, I struggled because I kept doing thin lines and I didn't like the way it looked, and I didn't know how I wanted it to look. And finally, after like 2-3 weeks of not looking at this piece, last night I was thinking about this piece in particular because I had been writing on my stories about creating my own original character, and she came into mind. And I was like, I know how I want to do it now. I want her to have those really kind of heavy, cartoony, thick lines, and see where that line work can take me, and where it can take the character, and how it will look once it all comes into play. And that's kind of where it started to develop. And I woke up this morning and I went right into inking and kind of messing with how this line work comes out. And you'll notice even that once I get rid of the red line work, I don't really change anything up. The only thing that you won't really notice is that I actually thicken up the lines on the lips and around the nose because they were too thin, how I originally did it. And it's kind of just one of those where the more I play with digital, the more I kind of figure out what I like and what I don't like. And it's so funny because I feel like every traditional piece, I kind of have a flow and a way that I do it. But every digital piece, like, I feel like I do it differently every single time. And I know in part that's kind of just one of those where I'm learning my style. I'm learning how I like to create digitally, how I like the imagery to work. And I struggle with digital way more than I feel like I do with traditional, which is so funny because it's so much easier to edit and erase and kind of fix things with digital. But it's kind of like my brain doesn't really contemplate that aspect. Like for me, when I'm doing traditional, even though pretty much everything is permanent unless you decide to start over, it's one of those where I'm like, I got this. And I go in, and even if I look at it afterwards and I'm like, I notice all my mistakes, I'm still like, I'm so happy with this. Which isn't a bad thing by any means. But it's not like I can just be like, I just want to quickly edit this. And the hilarious thing that I've come to find, and I'm sure that maybe some of you have felt the same way, is that I have literally at one point while sketching traditionally after working on a digital piece for so long, tried to zoom in with my fingers and then quickly realize that I'm doing it and I'm like, I'm such an idiot. But it's just one of those kind of funny make a joke of myself things that I can't help. But overall, I feel like her concept and everything really came together. I am loving digital more and more the more that I try it, but I also like am finding my flow in just traditional and digital art in general. Again, especially during this time and taking as much of a break as I have. But I hope that you guys are all doing fantastic. Stay safe and stay home. And remember, I appreciate you all so much. You are wonderful people. And take it easy. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.